Hello, everyone. This is Attack the Backlog, the podcast where I, Marcus Nez, tries to make a dent in their backlog one game at a time. This episode is all about Transformers Galactic Trials. Roll out for an intense fusion of arcade racing and robot combat in Transformers Galactic Trials. Evil Nemesis Prime has stolen the Prime relics that bestow incredible powers on whoever possesses them. Now the Autobots and Decepticons are in an explosive race to recover these powerful artifacts. Which side will you fight for? Compete in a frenetic fusion of racing and combat. Choose your character from icons like Bumblebee, Megatron, and Optimus Prime, and speed into action on 10 battle race circuits. You may be saying to yourself right now, why on earth did you play this game? The answer is simple. I was very sick, and when trying to find out some game to round out the week with a short game that I could just play, not wanting to start anything big, anything substantial at the end of the week, having the weekend to not play it. For instance, I am very close to, maybe at the time of this recording, playing Hollow Knight next. I did not want to play Hollow Knight for one evening, then take 2 evenings off and return to it the following week. I felt like that would be a bad way of just trying to get me, especially at the start of a game like that. I wanted to play it consistently through. So I spent maybe a half hour or longer on my Xbox in my library, going to the part where you can filter things out and just hit surprise me over and over and over again. And when I fell upon this game, I said, you know what? Maybe this is good. It looks like it could maybe be good. And my friend Living Large, he is a humongous Transformers fan, so he should get a kick out of this as well. It could end up being a very pleasant surprise. I also almost played a Fast and the Furious arcade downloadable title because I just watched all of the Fast movies, rewatched all of them. That's a whole other thing. But I went with Galactic Trials. What the game is, and I didn't realize this, I thought it was just a traditional kart racer type game. But it is a rogue light in that you have 3 difficulties of tiers of runs, where your easier difficulty, I think you participate in 3 events, 3 races. Then in the medium difficulty, it's 5. And then the final difficulty, it's 7. And you have a certain objective on the easier ones. I think you still have to win certain races, but you can just get in the top 3 in other ones, and the not the circuit races, but the sprint races, the point-to-point races. All I had to do was get in the top 3 to complete it and move up to the next event. But that is the structure of the game, which I wasn't expecting. I thought it was just going to be your typical cup type thing where you play 3 or 4 races and whoever has the most points at the end wins. But instead it is this roguelite structure of continuing on from race to race to race. In between the races, you get perks that you can add on to your character that will give you additional shields. Or maybe when your health is at a certain level, you'll drive 25% faster, or your weapons do more damage, so on and so forth. I like that structure a lot. I think conceptually, this game has a decent amount going for it. It is overpriced at $40. That's the regular price. I did not pay that when I got it, and it goes on sale very frequently. I think it might even, at the time of this recording, these games go on sale often. But I think at the time of this recording, it's on sale for $16 on Steam. But just from a pure conceptual standpoint, I think this is a good idea. However, in practice, it's not so good. And that shouldn't be surprising because this is from Outright Games, makers of many licensed games from the Bluey game. And they do a lot of kid-centric, kid-focused games, which is why I'm surprised by how difficult the hardest difficulty is. It is very brutal. It is very cheap. Gameplay-wise, it's very frustrating. But the sheer cheapness of the harder difficulty, my perceived cheapness, is surprising to me from what seems to be a kid-focused game. But Outright Games, they put out stuff like the Bluey games, Race for Ryan, the My Peppa Pig games, Bratz, some Barbie game this year, so on and so forth. So that's what they do. That is their bread and butter. I've sometimes been pleasantly surprised by the things they've done. Nothing they've made that I've played has ever been amazing. It's not like, oh my God, this is a game of the year contender. No, but I remember playing I don't know if they did two, but the first Jumanji game or the first Jumanji movie, they made a game for that, which was just this kind of, I think it was a horde move. I think it was just kind of take on waves of enemies, sort of. But I remember that being better than I was expecting. It wasn't great, but I was expecting much worse. Anywho, the actual gameplay, the races that you are participating in are a kind of mixture of kart racer-ish, but not really, and third-person shooter. Because this is a Transformers game. And what would it be if you weren't forced to transform in some way so that you can transform into your Autobot form and go around shooting? So you'll be driving around for a little bit, and then you'll get to these designated sections where you automatically transform and go through these kind of shooting gallery situations where they might have some turrets and enemies that you take out while you're making your way through them. It feels very amusement parky-ish in that sense. And you get through those areas, they might have some traps and other things you want to avoid. And you can also shoot your fellow drivers in those sections. And in some cases, you will have a gear or some kind of structure you have to destroy before you'll open the gate to continue on the track. But then when you get back on the track, you can't really attack your fellow drivers. There aren't weapons to use there. You can bash into the side of them, which feels useless from your standpoint, but the enemies, the AI can bash into you and they seem to do a lot more damage than you do to them. You can bash them off a track, off the road in open areas, potentially, and do something there. But it doesn't seem like you bashing into them does all that much good outside of screwing with your placement on a track. But I played it for about 3.5 hours, completed the easy and normal difficulty without any issue, and then struggled with the hardest one. Eventually had a very good run where I got to the last race, but the last race ended up being this one that I found incredibly cheap on the hardest difficulty. It's a very short track design, and it's probably just my perception, but it sure shit felt like the other cars, the AI cars, could drive faster than me, had more boost than me. Even I was always playing as Bumblebee, who has more speed but is less durable because he's a smaller car. But you throw in fucking Megatron, you throw in Optimus Prime in their large ass trucks, superpower, and they're just flying by me. And I'm like, Do they stock up on so much boost? What the fuck is going on? I don't understand what is happening on this track. This is miserable. I hate this. And I never won on that track, but I didn't have as much of an issue on the other ones. That track in particular is just a fucking nightmare. But the actual game is just very, very frustrating to play. The driving doesn't feel good. The third-person shooting sections aren't fun. I find design-wise, it's incredibly annoying when they have the specific sections where you have to destroy a generator or something in order to open the door to continue on the track, because what that does is penalize the person in first place, because you get there ahead of the other drivers and now you're the only one working towards destroying this thing to open the door. The other drivers who are making their way there, they could arrive just as you finish destroying the thing. And now they've caught up to you. You've done all that work and you're back to square one. All the time you've gained prior in that race is lost because you got there first and therefore you had to destroy this thing on your own, and they don't have to destroy it themselves because it's already open. When it's open for one person, it's open for all people. So just from a design standpoint there, I find that to be so stupid. They should have just not had any of those sections. Nothing where the door doesn't open or the force field doesn't drop until you destroy this generator, this structure, whatever. That is just stupid. It's just, you might as well, if you're in first place in those bits, just wait for the other drivers to come. Hey, you can help me with this because I'm not going to waste my time. I'm not going to, I don't know. It's just annoying as all hell. But it was just surprising to me specifically how cheap the harder difficulty felt, like the hardest one. And I guess part of it is that when you are doing runs, you're leveling up, you're unlocking new potential, because there's RNG in terms of the items that'll show up, the perks that'll show up in between the races from different types of weapons and so on. So you will unlock new weapons through completing certain objectives. So you might have a weapon that'll unlock when you kill 10 Decepticons and destroy 50 turrets and do this other thing. And then that weapon will unlock and be in the pool of things that can show up in between races. And when you complete a run, you will get these loot box type things that you open up and they'll give you the option of a certain card that'll show up in your pool. Now you can get something that'll give you double your shields or a perk to your attack damage, so on and so forth. I think all that's well and good, but again, this doesn't the limited number of tracks. There are only 10, as I said at the top of the episode. And the vehicles themselves, it seems like, especially on the harder difficulties, the heavier vehicles like your Optimus Prime are useless. Yes, they're stronger, they're more durable, and presumably do more damage with bashing. The loss you have to endure in terms of your speed and acceleration is not worth it. It's not worth taking that increase in strength and damage over the increase in speed and acceleration. Except it feels like the AI doesn't have to worry about that shit because, again, at least on that one track, they would just constantly fly by me. And it wasn't even like, oh, it's a photo finish at the end. They'd all zoom past me. And I'm just there thinking to myself, well, what could I possibly do in this situation? I'm not running into the wall. Like, what can I do? And maybe it's just play more, unlock more perks, and buy the perks that increase speed when I get on that track. But I like to focus on shields because the third person shooting sections are not fun, and it can get easy if you don't have a lot of shields to die right away, and then you get respawned. You lose a lot of time there. The tracks themselves are not that well designed. The quips you get from characters, the character quips, are repetitive and annoying. Playing as Bumblebee, I got very sick and tired of hearing him say, "Catch me if you can. Catch me if you can. Catch me if you can." Fucking shut the hell up, Bumblebee. It doesn't have a bad look to it. I think the actual models of the Transformers are nice. You got some nice color schemes there. But it's just not there. And it's disappointing too, because again, I think conceptually this is a cool game, but it should be a $20 game. Yeah, I mean, you could charge less, but I think $20 would be a nice spot for this. And it needs to play better. It needs to be better designed. There needs to be more thought put into the dual nature of the events of having these races mixed with the third person action. Something that just isn't, hey, you're racing for a bit, kind of boring, and then you get to these third person sections that are kind of whatever. There's plenty of moments or parts in the environment for cover. I think that's why they're there, but you can't do anything with them. You can't jump in that section either, which I found frustrating, but that's just to force you to move across a specific path so that you can't jump over a barrier. But I found that a little silly. It just seemed weird. I don't know. It's a game that I was hopeful for. I thought, oh, this could be interesting. And then when I realized this is a roguelite, I thought, maybe this is something here. But then it got really old real fast with the limited number of tracks. And the hardest difficulty, in my eyes, just felt incredibly cheap. So, yeah, a disappointment there. But again, from Outright Games, what should you really expect? So, is it a disappointment or is it what I should have expected? And it is what I should have expected, but I like to be optimistic and was hoping for a pleasant surprise. And instead, I was met with what I probably should have been expecting. Anywho, that is going to do it for this here episode of Attack the Backlog. Once again, I am Marcus Nez. Y'all can find me pretty much everywhere at PX Sausage. If you enjoy this here show or any of the stuff I do and what have you, you can support me and my nonsense over at patreon.com/PXS. There you can get access to the sausage dump where I talk about this, that, and whatever, as well as a private Discord channel and some fancy Discord roles, depending on your tier, of course. Or you can just support me if that is your fancy. That is, again, patreon.com/PXS. In addition to the Patreon, you can find links to the site, the YouTube, the Discord, and so much more over at pxsausage.com. That is the letter P, the letter X, sausage.com. But that is it. That is all. As always, thank you for watching or listening. I hope you enjoy this here episode, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. But for now, adios, arrivederci, bye, bye. It's go time, go daddy. It's go time, go.